sometimes a portrait needs a little bit of retouching just to make the model or the subject look her best. And here we have a girl with a little bit of hay fever causing red blotches in the eye. You can see the veins, and also there's a little bit of green to the whites rather than just being pure white. So we can tweak that using a little bit of help from the sponge tool to desaturate the red blotches, and also the clone stamp as well. And the healing brush can also help us remove some of the colour tints to give her white looking whites rather than blotchy red and green tinted eyes. So open up the source file, you'll find it on your CD. It's called Eye Before. So let's kick off by getting the layers palette up. You can go to Window and choose layers from there, or drag it from the palette bin in the corner, and then duplicate the layer so you've got a copy of it in case things go wrong and you need to retrace your steps by dragging it to the Create New Layer icon. Then grab the zoom tool and let's zoom in on the most important area of our portrait, the subject's eyes. If you want to see the best quality eye and the biggest eye as well, you can just right click with the zoom tool and choose actual pixels, and that will give you the full-sized eye as it was taken. You're not magnifying it anymore, otherwise it will distort, but this is basically the picture at full size. And you can see it's a little bit soft there, so we could sharpen that up a little bit after we finished editing, but let's just start working on some of the nasty veins here. Okay, let's kick off by getting rid of this ugly vein, and to do that what we're going to do is use the spot healing brush, which is this chap here. Just click and hold if it's not visible and select it like so, or press Shift and J to toggle between the two brushes that live here. Then what we're going to do is just take a small size brush, around about 15 pixels in size, should do the trick, and just click and spray it over the vein like so, and it should, if you click again and just basically dab it away, it'll actually then find adjacent pixels from the whiter parts and get rid of the horrible vein. If you want to see the before version, just turn off this layer here, like so. There you go. There's the after. So it's a very quick tidy up on any unwanted veins, like so. So it's quick to do that. Let's just have a quick look at the other ear, eye. I'm glad I'm not a doctor. Oh yeah, this one's much more juicy vein-wise. So I'm just doing lots of little dabs, because you may find it clones a vein rather than gets rid of it. So you might need to click a few times, and then just slowly extend the whites over. If you can't get the bit you want, then you might need to fix this healing brush instead of the spot healing brush. Then you can alt click to say, yeah, we want this bit here and we want to put it over here by spraying, and that will then take the sampled area and go through into the other sections like so. So that's a good way of getting rid of some of those red blotches. I'm just going to alt click again to get a clear bit and spray over these bits of vein. So there's the before. I'm just going to turn off this layer. There's the after. So we need to dab it a little bit more. Once we've tidied up with the healing brush, we can go back to the spot healing brush, and any little artifacts like these little repeating patterns we can just click and spray over like so. So that is getting the texture looking whiter than it was. Let me just see the before, and there's the after. Okay, so a little bit of work there, but you see the technique I'm using just to get rid of that blotchy red eye. If you find the red is still a little bit too strong even after all that spot healing, what you can do is grab the clone stamp and then set it to around about 28% so you get a nice blend. Make sure aligned is ticked. And what you can do is alt click to sample a clear bit of white and then just gently spray that in to these areas here. Alt click again if you want to keep on sampling the whiter bits, and slowly but surely we're beating away the red blotches and replacing them with white. But because we're using a semi-transparent brush, we're also keeping some of the original texture too. What you must try to make sure is that you don't go over the top and make the eyes look very white. We're just trying to get it to a similar tone to the original shot, but if they were really white you'd end up looking like a vampire or a werewolf or a zombie, not quite sure which. So less is more when you're doing it, and that's why 28% is also a good idea to use opacity wise, just to keep it subtle. There's the edited version, there's the before, so it's a subtle change, but it's a mild improvement and it just helps rescue the photograph a little bit. So we've rescued that eye quite well. Let's just slide over to the next one by holding the spacebar to get the hand tool, and here we have a rather green looking tint to the eye, and to get rid of that we could try using the sponge tool, and that allows you to desaturate. It has other modes as well like saturate, but desaturate is much more useful, and what we can do is set flow to around about maybe 40% should do, and then just gently make sure you've got that layer targeted, click and spray, and what that's doing is it's just removing all of the colour, so be careful not to go over the main iris. It's just this white area here, and it's quite a subtle technique as well. We don't want to make the eye look grey, we still want to keep it white, so don't go over the top with this either. A few gentle strokes. If you need to change the brush size, left square bracket scales it down to about 45 pixels, and it's quite good as well to get rid of some of this red here. So there's a danger I'm going slightly grey there now. As you can see, I'm removing all the colour, so Control Z to undo your last few strokes just to rescue that bit there. Okay, let's go back to the sponge tool, just keep on tweaking. And to see if that's shaping up nicely, you can turn off the top layer, and there's the really green glow from the layer below, the original shot. And here's our edited photo. So let's just do another comparison here. There's the after, there's the before, a subtle retouching job. And finally, I'm just going to go to Enhance, Unsharp Mask, and just sharpen the shot just a wee bit, maybe take it up to about 88, maybe 1.5 pixels. And you can see there's the before, there's the after, so it's slightly sharper and it's lifting out some of the finer detail like the eyelashes here. Very subtle change there. Don't want to go over the top, otherwise you start to add noise to the edited bits like around this area here. So keep it subtle, click OK, and then I'm just going to go to Z for the zoom tool, right click to fit on screen, and there's my after version. Let's have a look at the before. Subtle but effective.